Alright, so what I want to do here is this really is for anybody, maybe aimed a little bit more at beginners with your open chords. And we're just going to talk about transitioning from chord to chord, what the best way to do that is, and just, overall physical things that you need to be aware of when you're switching chords. So I'm going to bring the camera down here just so we can see more about what I'm doing here with my left hand. Alright, so we got a G chord, right? Now G to C is a very common move. So, I see a lot of people, they move with their first finger first, and they bring the other two fingers in like that. So they're kind of throwing, so they're kind of going like this, right? Where I am, well, at this point for me, I'm moving each finger at the same time directly where it needs to go. But what helped me get there with G to C was learning to move with the ring finger first. So I bring my ring finger up here and get that in. So you can see that I'm very, very relaxed when I'm doing this, right? So I bring that ring finger, play first, there. But eventually everything needs to be at the same time. Back to G, I'm probably going to be thinking about the middle finger here, because I want the middle, these two are already in the shape they need to be in. So I'm kind of hoping that by leading with these two, that they push these two fingers out of the way and down, right? So I see a lot of people when they go from C to G, they do stuff like this, and then they bring these two back. So they're going, getting this down, and then doing this. So the big thing really is that in the end, what you're shooting for is each finger goes directly in a straight line where it needs to go, right? And that's what I'm doing here with G to C. So you can see how quickly. Now I teach, so I'm playing the open chords a lot every week, every day. So I'm constantly reinforcing this. All right, so that's G to C. Another thing I'm doing with C is I'm touching the low E with my ring finger, letting some of the meat of the finger stick out. Then it touches it, it mutes it out for me. I sometimes bring my thumb over, but typically my thumb is, just hanging out here like this when I'm playing. There's G. See, so you can see how this is more of a stabilizer for me. It's very light. I'm very relaxed here. Some of you who have a lot of tension when you play, you know who I'm talking about. And you really have to be relaxed. Shoulders, everything's loose and relaxed when I play. If you come up to my fingers, you can see they're not rock. I'm not tense like this. I'm not where you come up and they're like rocks here. I'm very relaxed. So I'm letting the weight of the fingertips fall. I want you to see how I'm doing this. I'm imagining that I'm just falling down on the strings without really pressing down. I'm imagining that I'm just the weight is pushing them down versus me actually pushing them down. So that gives me a loose, relaxed feeling. From C, sorry, I'm moving around a lot. C to E minor, your middle finger now is an anchor finger. Doesn't need to move. So 1, 2, E minor. Now, notice here how when I make the move, it's all in the fingers. Right? I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not making a big move here. And I have space in here. Right? There's space. I'm not doing this. Right? right? You start muting out strings and you're not in a good position. For some of you, you know, you're struggling. It's not because you're not a musical person. It's simply because you're not in the right positions, you know. And the longer you go with being in wrong positions means those habits are being ingrained even more. So when you come to me for a lesson and you've been playing and you've got these bad habits, then it becomes hard to break because it feels comfortable to you even though it's not right, you know. So we all sometimes have to take 2 steps back to go forward. I have in my own playing. So that's E minor to that's C to E minor, or yeah, right. So G, C, then E minor. You could do D after that. No, G to D. Ring finger, anchor finger on the B string. Doesn't need to move when I move to D. See that? Another thing here that I'm not doing is when I move from chord to chord, you can see how I'm not lifting. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing stuff like popping the fingers way off or way up high and then bringing them down. I'm trying to find the best angle here, like show you that I'm not popping them way up like this. Probably like this. So I'm not going like this, not going like way up and then moving, right? I'm bringing them straight down, almost dragging them across the strings to get to the next chord. Where a lot of you are popping fingers up and doing stuff like this, lifting fingers when they don't need to be lifted. So the farther away you are from the strings, that's time. Distance equals time, and bigger chance of making a mistake too, right? So I'd much be rather just really staying close to the strings. So G, E minor, C, D, G, C, E minor, D. That chord progression can be mixed up in any way, and you should try to play it starting on every chord and just mixing the chords up. So if I started on C, right now I'm doing C, E minor, D, G. So you've already heard how G, C, E minor, D sounds. And then you heard how G, E minor, C, D sounded. And then you heard how C, E minor, D, G sounded. You know, the point is that way you're not just constantly going from like G to C or G to E minor. You're working every chord in every possible way essentially that you can do it. All right, so you gotta, my fingertips are curled when I do these chords. And I'm not letting things like this happen where I'm letting them kind of like fall in here, down here on these two, right? So they're all curled. I fret a little bit higher up here with the G, with the middle finger. That way, the further up it is, there's less chance of me muting out the A string. There, right? So nice and loose in my elbow here. Right, what else can we do? So you work on your C to F. And again, notice how when I do my F, I'm just dropping down. It's a very small move. It's not easy, but it's a very small move. And I'm trying to capture both the B and the E here of the first fret, G string of the second, third the D. So you could throw in, what is it? Learn to Fly, Tom Petty. Sorry. So you already see what you got to do with the F to C. I'm just rolling the index finger up from the F. I'm just bringing it up and not moving it off the string, off the B string. It's rolling up. I mean, it's already on here, but I'm just kind of bringing up off the high E. So, and I just bring these two up. Let's bring them up. So, to A minor, well, my first finger is already on the B string, so I just bring these two back. Actually, the only finger that needs to move here from C to A minor is the ring finger. I may push the middle finger up to give it, I'm giving it a little room here for the ring finger on A minor. When I go to C, because I'm trying to get close to the frets as I can, the front of the frets as I can. And then we've already talked about C to G. So F, C. I didn't even catch it there. There we go. So you have, this is syncopated, so down, up, down, up. So you move into the C on an up strum on the end of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's pretty much the whole song. What was I usually do for lessons, the Last Kiss, Pearl Jam. That was before with G. You could have done G, E minor, C, D. That'd be Last Kiss. And that's just a down, down, up, up, down. 1, 2, and 4. What else? Knocking on Heaven's Door. G, D, A minor for 2 bars, and G, D, or 2 beats, and this is a bar, and then G, D, and then C. That's the whole song. So again, you can see you're using these chords, right? What else we got? D minor, one that people don't use a lot. It's Lean on Me. So it's this is cool because you're going right up the scale. C, D minor, E minor, F, full F, and then F, E minor, D minor, C, C, D minor, E minor, E minor, C, so C. I think that's it. But just right up the scale. So you move from C to D minor, dropping these two right back. Right here. And then I add either my pinky, or some people will use their ring finger. But again, notice how everything's moving at the same time. Right? I'm relaxed. E minor, F, or this F. Coming back down, E minor, D minor, C. Alright, so I'm going to end this here now, but so, what's the sum it all up, to wrap it all up here is, what I'm really was trying to teach here was just more about, what you're physically doing when you're changing from chord to chord. And it's something that you do want to think about, right? So just make sure that when you're practicing that you're thinking about this stuff, right? You're not just going through the motions at home, and you're really being aware of how you're sitting, and the whole time my guitar here was angled up. I'm not down, I'm not leaning, I'm not doing stuff like this, right? I'm in a good position here. Guitar's right in front of me, so I can see what I'm doing. I'm in a position to play efficiently and play relaxed, and that's really important. So if you have any questions, let me know, please. Thank you.